So let's have a look at this example where we have a 560,000 Rand loan, which is amortized with quarterly payments of 15,550 Rand. Now, just a note, amortized means that the loan is paid off. That means its future value is equal to 0. Then it says the loan is secured at 0.75% per month effective, and it asks us to calculate the duration of the loan. So we're going to be using our financial calculator. So what we're going to do is we're going to start writing down all the information we have and just fixing it for our financial calculator. So we're just going to start at the beginning of the word problem. So we have a 560,000 Rand loan. So that is its present value is 560,000. And it's an inflow of money to us because we're getting that money to use. And then it's amortized. And remember, amortized means that the future value of this is going to be equal to 0. And it's amortized with quarterly payments of 15,550 Rand. So the PMT here is 15,550 Rand. And that's an outflow of money from you because you're paying it back. And that means it's going to be negative. And it's quarterly payments. So the PY on our financial calculator is equal to 4 to represent the quarters. Now it says that the loan is secured at 0.75% per month effective. So that's actually giving us the effective interest rate. So it's saying I-12 because it's per month effective. So it's the 12 is the per month situation of 0.75%. Now, be careful because this does tell us it's in percent. So we don't have to make conversions to percent for our financial calculator. But just remember that for your formulas, you use decimal fraction notation. You would have to still convert this to the decimal fraction notation. And then your financial calculator uses percentages. Now, our financial calculator also requires it to be listed as a nominal interest rate, which means we need to convert this to the nominal interest rate. So that's I-12 times by 12. So that's 0.75 times by 12. And connected to this nominal interest rate is the compounding period. So we have CY is equal to 12 because it's per month effective. When we convert our nominal interest, it is the percentage per annum compounded monthly, connected with that number that sits there, that M. So you'll see here our CY is equal to 12 and our PY is equal to 4. There is another approach that we can use. We could go ahead and convert it again, but we're keeping this example as simple as possible because let your financial calculator do all the work for you. And last but not least, we have calculate the duration of the loan, which means we have N is equal to something and we want to find it. Now we have everything we need for our financial calculator. So let's go through the recipe that we use on our financial calculator. So the first thing you're always going to do, no matter what, is you're going to clear your data from your previous calculations. So that's your second function, your CA. Stage 1 kind of thing, like always, no matter what, clear your information. Then the next stage is you're going to input your payment periods and your compounding periods. So we're going to say second function, PY. And then we're going to say, okay, well, PY in this case is 4. And then we're going to have to push down and we're going to see that the CY is equal to 4 at the moment. We're going to update it to be 12. So we're going to update it. So we're going to say 12 and enter. Then we're going to clear our screen. And that's the end of stage 2. Okay, so next up, we're just going to put down all the information we have. So here we're going to be like, okay, the loan was 560,000. So we're going to say 560,000 PV. We're then going to input. You don't have to input the future value. You can if you want to. But if you cleared your information correctly, the default is already 0. So you sorted. So we're going to move on to the payments. So that's plus minus, because remember, it's an outflow of money. 15,550 Rand PMT. Then our interest here is going to be the 0.75 times by your 12. And you'll notice what I've done is I actually haven't worked it out. I've just left it as is. There are a few ways you can go about this. You can either go work out your nominal interest and store it and then recall the variable, or you can just type it in, as is here. So you could say 0.75 times by 12 and then say IY. When I do it on my financial calculator, I'll do it a slightly different way. So I just want to discuss all the different ways we could go about it. So you could literally just type it in and push IY. You could have previously typed this in and then stored it as a variable. And then you could have just recalled it where you want it to feature. Okay. So it's like your choice in that. Just remember, if it was more complicated, so if there were, more decimal numbers occurring, you would want to use the storing or just put it in entirely instead of typing it in. Okay. Then next up, we have to compute it. So we can just say compute and N. And that's going to give us an answer of 75.61. Now, remember, when they talk about calculate the duration of the loan, you would have paid this off at 75.61, which actually means you would pay it off at 76 quarters. And your final payment is just going to be reduced or smaller than the rest of your payments. So the end answer is 76 quarters. And it's quarters because your units are connected to your payments. So our payments were quarters. So remember, it sits over there. Our payments are quarters. That's why it's quarters over there. And once again, I just want to say this one more time. The reason why we round up is because at 75 quarters, you haven't paid off the loan. So and you don't pay it off midway through, you pay it off, at the end kind of situation. So you pay it off at the 76th quarter. And what's going to happen is the final payment is just going to be reduced. There's not going to be as much money necessarily to pay off in this situation. And that is basically it. So let's just go on to looking at it in our financial calculator. Okay, so now we're going to clear our information. So second function CA, then we're going to say second function PY, and that's going to be 4 and enter. Now we're going to push down because remember we need to check our CY. Our CY is currently corresponding to our PY. We need to update it in this case to 12 because our compounding is monthly. So 12 and enter. Now we just clear our screen with the ONC button. And we put in our information. So we have a loan, so it's money to us. So it's 560,000 PV, so positive PV. And then we're going to put in our payments. So our payments are negative because they're coming from us. It's an outflow of money. So it's minus 15,550 PMT. Then it's 9 IY, and we're going to compute our N. So now we get an answer of 75.61. So it's going to take 75.61 payments essentially. So that's 76 quarters. We round up because you will only finish paying off your loan on the 76th one because it takes 75.61.